It's the 14th of February 2019. I'm David Griffin and I'm here at Ashover and I'm talking to
Maher.
Bernie. Can't believe we're sitting outside here in the middle of February. It's absolutely beautiful. We talked in the first two interviews at length about your career up to the end of 1987, I think, and by then you're an established member of the first team. You're keeping wicket. You've got the most dismissals of any keeper in the country. In 1987, you've scored 4 first-class hundreds. 1988 was a year when Derbyshire got to a Lord's final. Was there a sense during that sort of 86-87 period that Derbyshire were building a side that was looking to be more competitive and to win something?
I just think the players just got more experienced. That was the main thing. I think obviously good signings. You know, it was just basically we had a good team. It was just players learning the job, learning the trade. That's the main thing. So.
And we had 1988, 2 new players came into the side in Steve Goldsmith, who got 1,000 runs in his first season, and Peter Bowler, who did likewise. They must have had a big impact on the side.
Well, Peter was signed from Leicestershire, as you know, and there was a standing joke with Pete because Phil Russell spotted him and said he hit Devon all over the place at Grace Road once, and it actually wasn't Pete Bowler. It wasn't Pete Bowler at all. It was Mike Haseman.
Right.
So Pete Bowler got signed by an accident, but what a signing it was! Phenomenal. Very strong. Will, you know, amazingly strong mind. He had, you know, very good, naturally talented, but very gutsy player. Very good.
And an opening batsman, of course. So how did that impact on your?
Well, I went down to 3, but you see, this is where I wasn't a 3. I should have been down maybe at 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
I found 3 harder because you could be in the next ball or you could sit and wait 4 hours.
Yes.
And I found that quite hard. I mean, I used to basically. I knew I had my stuff ready. I was keeping. If we knew we were getting close to batting, I'd go in. You'd get the half an hour job, which the balls around your ear all the time. I'd go off and read my fishing books. That's what kept me sane. I'd go fishing, and that's what was my form of relaxation. I was doing 2 jobs, as you said, opening the batting and keeping wicket. Batting at 3, I found much harder, and it didn't suit my style. You know, I wanted to get out there, and you have to watch the whole time. I couldn't read a book and switch off, or you know, that's what I used to do.
And was there any attempt to target a tournament? I mean, did you just play every game, the old saying, take it as it comes, or was there a targeting of a competition?
I just think momentum. If we were a one-day side, really, I think you need, especially with our attack, the opposition wouldn't have bouncy wickets and had turners. We needed a left armour and a good off spinner. You know, Jeff Miller. We needed a really good left armour, and especially in the latter part of the season. And that's what you needed to win the championship. You had to have certainly a left arm spinner to win it. Ball going away from the right-handed bat. But in one day, as we had, you know, like Alan Warner would come in at 7 and he would take the quicks on, and we might lose 3 or 4 wickets hitting the ball, and he'd come in and win the game for us.
Very underrated cricketer, wasn't he? Alan Warner, but still Derbyshire's leading one-day wicket taker.
Fantastic! Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and he was another one that Phil spotted, I assume.
Yeah, it was. I remember played against him. He was in for Worcester, and very small but wiry strength, and
quicker than he looked, I suspect.
Oh yeah, quicker than he looked. But then he learned, I think. His bowling improved. He just learned to be patient. You know, he'd always slip one down the leg side. He'd hit it. What he learned at Derbyshire, he just almost like Moore Mortensen.
Yes.
Kept you waiting, and then of course useful with the bat. You know, little man with the big bat he was. Alan Warner, fantastic.
So 88, we get to Lords, but not before we have a rather protracted semi-final down at Swansea. Against Glamorgan, which was probably most notable for Michael Holding hitting Matt Maynard on the head. And the helmet came off and landed on the stumps.
I think it wasn't. Didn't he? I think he did he knock it off with his gloves?
Well, I was 100 yards away, Bernie. You were closer to it than I was. So
he had side pieces on, and his hand went up, and he knocked the peak of his cap with his gloves. It was a short ball, and the hat and the helmet bounced back and hit the. Just touched the stumps and the bails come off, and then we thought we were having a chance. Yeah, I caught Hugh Morris earlier, and then we had it rain affected.
Is that down the leg side?
No, it's in just down low to my left.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Of course, another England player got him out, and then we're in with a chance here because Matthew was he was on form then. Yeah, very interesting.
And went to 3 days, of course.
Yes, it did. Yeah, down at Swansea. Yeah, rain affected, and we couldn't believe it, but. The rest is history.
Yeah. Well, we played the final, and I'm not looking for, I'm sure you won't make an excuse, but because we had there were two issues. One, we played Chester at Broughton Hall, didn't we, against Cheshire, which was another protracted NatWest game that played Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Then you had to go to Lords, and when we got there, we lost the toss. So just take me through the game at Broughton Hall first. Was that?
Well, it rained all the time. Obviously, hence we delayed the start. They didn't have sufficient covers. We wanted to get back down to Lords where this match to get preparation done. The game, I remember talking to them all and said we won't play, but it's we won't play, but it's going to be a long time. Then all of a sudden this roller pulled up, this sponge roller that had been lent by Lancashire, and they turned up with this it's like two pieces of sponge and a big massive roller, and it hoovered everything up. And all of a sudden there's a chance of playing. They had Barry Wood in the ears of the umpires, and we're going to play, lads. And of course we played, we won it. I remember pulling in, this is a night before the final, I got to St John's Wood, the hotel there, at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, not ideal, was it?
Dropped Bruce Roberts off, and I mean it's not excuses, but it's not ideal. That's ridiculous. Of course, Hampshire had been there. They'd had, they wanted.
So you'd had no nets at Lords or anything
No,
the day
not
before?
at all. No, it was ridiculous. And I gave Kim, looking around for a coin. I went in my wallet, and all I had was a 2p. Went out with a 2p to toss up. Come down the wrong way. Now that would have been a great game if the coin had landed the other way. Yeah. Heads or tail, whatever it was, and they had a batter because it was our bowlers against their batters. But the wicket, I went out to face Steve Jeffries, and the first ball or second ball flew off a length. It was wide, but I think Mike Hunt, the groundsman, used to leave water on it, so it wouldn't. And as the ball pitched, it's white as it looked from the surface, but you could see all the green pitch marks.
Yeah.
See me all over.
It was unusual because there was always the talk, and there still has been 30 odd years on, about early morning at Lords. But of course, it wasn't the September final when traditionally there was dew around. I mean, this was midsummer.
Yes, it was.
This was July the 9th or 10th, I think.
Yeah.
And so there wasn't an expectation that there'd be any damp around for a bowler. But Jeffries took 5 for next to nothing, and once he'd done that, the game was over.
Yeah.
Was it a game you could enjoy? I mean, obviously not the result, but could you enjoy the experience, Bernie, of a Lords final?
Not really, no, losing. It was.
And because of not being able to soak in the night before and everything.
We just had what Michael was obviously. Michael Holding was devastated. He had a towel on his head. There was just flat silence. So I got John Morris, who went over to the Hampshire dressing room, and they got bottles of Bollinger and stuff. As everyone seemed about 30, 40 people in the dressing room, all partying. So we went back, and it was just like a normal counter game that you lost. It was
I still remember that one of the loudest noises I've ever heard at a cricket match, though, was when Devon ran in to bowl his first ball, because although we knew we'd made next to nothing, 117 I think, we still thought our much vaunted pace attack, we'd got Holding and Mortensen, Malcolm, Newman and Jack Warner, we still thought, well, you never know, miracles happen. And the roar that greeted that first ball that Devon bowled, it was short,
he
obviously,
bowled quick,
but he did bowl quick. Of course, Goldsmith took that
amazing catch,
wonderful catch, didn't he?
But it was just a shame. We got a lot of stick over it. It's just a shame for the supporters, and we just if as I said, the head had come down the other way, and they'd have been on the green wicket, it'd have been a much better game.
But such is life, I guess, that you can't, can't the vagaries of the toss, as you said, Michael Holding and Devon or Mortensen had a chance to bowl on that.
And they had a very good side. The thing, remember, they had a good, really top-class batting side, a lot of experience.
The
Smiths there, So that's the thing. It was our bowlers against their batsmen, really.
But you got another first-class 100 that year. Got 100 against Leicestershire.
I did, yes,
121. What position you were batting when you got that?
I was down because Pete was out. I was probably down at 6 there. I should have been, or 7. Yeah.
And that was a more comfortable position. You fit for you.
Well, probably that's the, I didn't mind the ball flying around my ears, and I used to get stuck in. What I struggled with, if you had a situation to tee off at 6 or 7 over.
Yeah.
My game was basically batting as opposed to slogging.
Yeah.
Again, I've got 400s, but the 90, I've got some 90s as well, which I regret now. That wasn't not getting that. That's the thing.
1987, a young man by the name of Carl Cricket made his debut down at Hove in a one-day game, the Old John Player League.
That's right. Yeah.
And by the time we get to 1990, there's been a shift because Derbyshire, I don't know whether it was by accident or design, but decided to go into the 1990 Sunday League season with Pete Bowler keeping wicket. Were you aware that was going to happen?
I came back. I was over I was playing in New Zealand, and I came back, and by chance I went into Oakwood, met up with Pete, while my wife was there, Janet, and I come around for a coffee, and I went round, and there was his bag out with his wicket keeping gloves there. I was going on. He said, "Oh, Benny, didn't mean to see them. I'm not going to give any ball. They've asked me to keep in the Sunday League." So I went, right, okay. So I went into the Monday morning, we report back as usual, and went in and just got called, and they said, well, look, your options are you carry on as a normal keeper, but Crick's pressing you, or you can do second team coach. So I opted, I had a chat, I went and had a think about it, and then just said to my wife, look, we've either got to move, or as soon as I have a bad game, they'll drop me, or I'll do second team coach, I'll extend my contract, and I'll look after the second team. So that was it. But that's how I found out.
Had you contemplated life in cricket, but not playing? In other words, as a coach or as a manager?
Not really. No. I mean, I thought about umpiring or going to umpiring.
Really?
You just start thinking about. You have to plan. And it's a no-brainer. Otherwise, you've got to think about what you're going to do. So, literally, we had a chat, myself and my wife, and decided, no, I'll go into the second team coaching role. But maybe I should have done another season. Another season would have been ideal, and then I'd like to have done it. And, of course, it's a lot more 4-day cricket then. The balls were flatter seamed and all that time.
But your role in the second team must have been of some value, because you look at the players that did come through at that time, and I'm thinking 89, 99, 90, 91, O'Gorman, Cork, Adams, Andy Brown, he wasn't quite in the same level as those, but there were a good number of young players that did come through the second team, didn't they?
Paul Aldridge, and Johnny Owen. I mean, they came on, they did fantastic. Under Dean Jones, really blossomed as players. And I mean, all I instilled was a bit of, you kind of like a bit of discipline. You got to, when you cross that line, you've got to be focused. And if I was in their face, it was because I thought they could play. Yeah. There's a number of players like we talked about that just don't have the killer instinct. Yeah.
But you were around, I assume it's a great sense of pride that you played in an era at Derbyshire when it was certainly, other than the 36 championship inside, the most successful period that Derbyshire's had. From 81 to 93, they won 3 trophies. They had other finals, and you were an integral part of that side, whether you're in it all the time or the coaching setup. So one assumes you can look back with some pride on your playing career and coaching career.
We alluded this earlier. The opposition did not like coming there. The first thing the batsman did was go out and have a look at the wicket. And so it was a. Well, we could compete. That's the thing. We competed, no matter who we played against.
And what were the chaps like in the dressing room? I mean, they're clearly a disparate group, and I know we've talked off camera about the fact that it doesn't matter whether you're a cricketer, a policeman, or a bricklayer, you work with people, and you get on with some, you don't get on with others, but presumably some larger-than-life characters in that.
Paul Mortensen I used to room with, and he was the most very, very tidy, but you'd go in, there'd be no towels left, or you'd go out with a curry for him, you'd have like a madras and rice. He'd have everything on the menu and go, right, we're splitting the bill here, Bernie. It's £25. You know, things like that. But all Mortensen was a right character.
I heard that when Azharuddin came over for his first season in '91, every curry house in England offered Azharuddin free meals. So
Yeah.
Stan would go with it.
Oh, he would do anything. Let him know. This is Azharuddin. I bring him to you. Yeah. Stan was a right character. Simon Bass was. He was a character. He stayed with us, me and Belper, in my house. But he was the mildest guy going. And as soon as you come in the gates, he'd frown. He'd go round annoying everyone. You know, you'd be going into bat or waiting to go into bat. He'd pick your bat. Simon, put the bat down. I'm actually quite, you know.
Underrated quick bowler though.
Yeah, he was quick. Yeah, he was sharp. I mean, that's the
He was very tall and raw-boned, wasn't he? He seemed to. I watched him side on once at Derby.
Yeah.
Just saw the lift he got. He looked to.
Paul Newman was another one. He was a right character. He would if you had anyone who was a trialist. Oh, we'll go out tonight, and you knew he'd been out on the town because he'd come in next morning. Right, who's going to go for a run? Should we have a marathon? What should we do? Some press ups. And so who's coming out for a run? You know, he's been out, and the second team guy, if it was, or the trialist, would be in with his bare knuckles on the ground, sort of crawling into the dressing room with a headache. You know, but I used to pay Paul East after 1985. That year, I never ever, you know, I tried to train hard. I never stayed out late, didn't drink much, you know. I always really focused on the game. That was my wake-up call in 1985. But I like Paul Newman, when we ever played at Cambridge, he doesn't know this day, I used to get half a cup of water. I used to wait for him to go to the loo, tip it over the top on him, and I did this for about 3 years. He never knew. Every morning I used to tip half a cup of water. He knows now. Yeah.
And what about the overseas? Because obviously you played through a period when you had a lot of really top-class, world-class overseas coming through there. What were they like in the dressing room and to be around?
Kirsten and John Wright, fantastic players. I mean, they were just an awesome and very sort of level-headed. John was a bit quieter. Peter was he's kick a rugby ball around.
Can I just ask you? You said in your first interview about the gulf between club to second team to first team. What were they that much? But you know the overseas. I'm talking about the great overseas, and Kirsten Wright, Holding clearly were. Were they another step beyond even that?
The thing you look at them, they just do things with the bat. They hit balls. You go and the power. How they do it, and you know, someone will just bowl slightly short of a length and they'll whip it off stump through like a shell going through mid wicket, and the next one will be a bit fuller and they'll cut it, and then you know, and then it'll be a short ball and they'll pull it, and they have that bit more time. Yes. And the power. I mean, like people like Greenwich, and you just watch them, and you're just in awe. How they just.
And what about Azharuddin?
Yeah,
close up. He must have been fascinating.
Fantastic. You know, how he gained. You'd have a slow bowler bowling very slow left arm, and with his wrist, how hard he hit it, almost like a best way of describing it, a table tennis. It'd ping, and the ball would hit the boundary. Unbelievable. And he could keep sweeping, hit the ball over my head, and I used to come out of the nets because he'd be hitting the ball. Yeah. Dilshan style over the top of my head, and then reverse sweep it.
What about Caper? Because I suspect he'd have made a bob or two in the modern game, wouldn't he?
He would have done.
One-day specialist.
Very. I mean, apart from an all-rounder, he was a very powerful hitter of the ball. Very powerful hitter of the ball. You know, people tried to bowl Yorkers. He could hit the ball for four, slightly offline. Wonderful underrated player he was.
Well, we've reached the end of this particular segment, so thanks, Bernie.
Pleasure.